or harder for your characters? Each of you, please.
I think for me, in season 3, having my family compromised, my immediate family, my baby being compromised, and then having to deal with all of that, and never really having time to think about what the repercussions could have been, or the negative, outcome could have been, and then going to prison and having to sit there for 14 months and think about nothing but that. I think just being in the club has become harder for Jackson. I think it's really the big struggle he goes through with in this season, is just deciding whether he wants to stay or not.
For me, the fact that Clay goes and does almost a year and a half inside at a point in his life where time is so precious, and with every passing day, he's getting closer and closer to the end game. That there's a sense of he's literally losing his grasp. He's been losing his grasp because of the arthritis from the get-go, but he's running out of time. He's losing his grasp. So everything that he does with a greater sense of urgency and almost desperation. And that's a very uncomfortable place for Ron, the actor who's having to play these scenes, to be, which is kind of the most exciting part of it, is because I don't ever want to be comfortable with anything that I'm doing. It's always best when it's challenging and when the reach is beyond the grasp.
So are Clay and Jackson in a better place now, having gone through 18 months in prison together? Are they going to be closer or apart?
Yeah, they definitely are closer, I think. They'd become closer even last season through the course of having, once Abel got taken, any internal beefs just got all, put to bed until we dealt with the greater problem. And then, the going to prison was kind of a continuation of that. And it's not to say that it's going to stay rosy forever, because I think there's a big clash on the horizon. But for now, we're playing pretty nice.
Whenever there's an external threat to the club, then all of the internal philosophical differences kind of get shelved. But we're always aware that they're just shelved, they're not resolved.
Right.
And they will at some point resolve themselves once we get to the point where we can turn our attention to them, or they just grow in scopes to the point where they're unavoidable to distract oneself from.
Can you guys talk about the interaction between the Sons and the new law enforcement in Charming?
Yeah, we don't like him.
And they don't like us.
Bad.
We got a new mayor, and we have a sheriff who's brand new, who we've not met. We know the mayor. We hate this guy. He's got a vision that's purely corporate and mercenary, and whereas ours is more grounded in some philosophical vision for what's best for this town to maintain its purity, to stay old school, so that people are on a first-name basis with everybody in the community, and everybody knows everybody. Everybody can depend on everybody, like old town, old school America. That's always been the Sun's vision for Charming. This guy just wants to turn it into a development, where rich people come in and buy property, and to hell with what direction the town takes philosophically. So that's a big theme in season 4. It's not the only theme, but it's a big one. We can't really say. But that shit's gonna fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually there to shoot the Machete too.
Yeah.
So we're helping him with permits, film permits and stuff. Parking for the crew and all the trucks.
Charlie, can you talk about Jack's coming home to an expanding family and his relationship with Tara?
Put down over there, where
I think the thing, like I was talking about earlier, he really gets some time to think while he's in prison about, where his priorities lie. And I think the huge epiphany is that his family are far more important to him than the club, which I think surprises even him. Because that decision has to be made. You know, he can't he realizes he can't keep going through just trying to do the right thing for everyone. He's got to make a decision, and it's going to be a difficult decision to make. And not everyone's going to like it, but I think just he realizes that his two children are the most important thing to him, and he'll do anything to protect them. You know, so that's really a lot of what he goes through this season, and the kind of fallout of some of the decisions he makes.
And Tara?
She's dead.
We are watching right now the season 2.
Oh yeah.
So can you tell me about what happened? I know what happened in season 3.
Can you remind me? I can't really remember.
Season 2 starts off with the rape of the matriarch.
Yeah, but can you tell me about all the sorry, if you my door?
Okay.
I mean, what you can, the conclusion that you can take of season 3.
Season 3.
Yes. Because it's going to be ending in 2.
Oh, 2. So okay. Well, season 3 I think is a really exciting season for fans of the show that are really interested in the world that we're shedding a little bit of light on. Because the thing that's so fascinating about these motorcycle clubs is they're giant international entities. They're not just in like little towns in America. These, in my hometown of Newcastle upon Tyne, England, we have like a massive motorcycle club that are a charter of a big American club. So they're all over, and through my baby being taken and us having to pursue him, we get to explore a little bit of the bigger scope of the clubs, which for me and my interest in this world was fascinating. I mean, I want to know as an audience member as much of the nuts and bolts and like day-to-day gritty reality of what this world is as possible, and we explore a lot of that. So for me, that's the most exciting thing about season 3.
And in season 4, we are back in Charming, and we are going to be more in your world now.
Or in our world, but in a world that we're kind of losing control over, and that we're being blamed for all of the ills of Charming, of which there really aren't that many. It's pretty much a publicity hype, that they're shoving down they've managed to invoke a lot of fear into the inhabitants of the town that is unfounded. And then they're using the club as a scapegoat for all the things that are wrong and Charming, so that they can change it to something that's much more mercenary and corporate and has to do with people's profits. Does it sound familiar to you? Everywhere you look in America right now, this is the discussion.
Well, you both talked about wanting to do challenging work, and obviously when you do something like this, it must raise that bar for you as far as the kind of things that you want to take on. So I'm just curious what it was about Pacific that made you want to do that, and for both of you, what it is about Guillermo that challenges you, as a filmmaker, to want to be involved with it.
As an actor, I think, or anybody, as a human being, I feel like one wants to spend one's time doing something significant, rather, because what's the alternative? Just spend your life, wasting your time. And so, it always seemed to me like a significant thing to do with one's life, be an actor, because I loved movies, and I felt like, there's something, not to be like grandiose about it, but there is something kind of important about film. I feel like the function it provides to general society, and like now that I'm involved in it, that's just got heightened a little bit, that I just only want to make as good a product as possible as films, and Guillermo is one of the best filmmakers in the world. So he approached me. I knew nothing about it. He asked me to come up to his house and take a meeting with him. I'd met Guillermo a few times, but he'd known my work because he watches Ron on Sons of Anarchy, and so he knew my work from there. And just kind of hinted that he was considering hiring me for a movie if I wanted to do it, and I said, "Fucking, where do I sign, man?" Like, I didn't read a script. I didn't know anything about it. It was just the fact that it was Guillermo. I think the guy can do no wrong, and normally I'll read the script 25 times before I even take a meeting with the director, and with him it was just a different process. Like, I'd do anything for him, you know?
He's such a meticulous filmmaker. How is that working into your Anarchy schedule? If you have to change your look for specific rounds?
I don't have to change my look, and it just ended up working out. Had it not worked out, there would have been nothing that we could have done about it, but it did happen to work out that Guillermo wants to shoot his film exactly when our hiatus is. So I got to go do it. So,
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
thank you very much.